Pat Sheffer. He's volunteer for tonight. He's a long-time Toastmaster, past president of the club, approximately 30 years in life insurance, and he was from the University of Miami, so he says that I have to emphasize, go Kings.
That's it.
He's going to be evaluated by board.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. 5 to 7.
The time.
5 to 7 minutes, yeah. So, Toastmasters, guest, how many of you said, I can't wait until? Nobody? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here to tell you tonight, we'll look at it from a couple standpoints. That's perhaps the worst way to look at things you can ever imagine. Now, the next question is, how many saw the Super Bowl yesterday? All right, that figures. Dan Marino, I think it was 84, was perhaps the most talented quarterback ever to arrive on the scene in pro football. There may be some argument, but some would say that that's the case. I think in his second year, he went all the way to the Super Bowl. But this was going to be a slam dunk because Marino was so talented, had a lot of really talented people around him, but they didn't win. But that's not a problem, right? He's so good, that's really not an issue. So how many times after that did he go back to the Super Bowl? Anybody? One? Thanks, Paul. 0. 0. I mean, here's this guy who's perhaps the greatest quarterback, certainly in Miami's history. Maybe not in the Canadian Football League, but nevertheless. Perhaps in the NFL in terms of talent, couldn't get back to the Super Bowl. So this whole business of I can't wait until doesn't get it done. Because there will be no until in many cases because we don't have control over that. He didn't have control over the fact that he had really very little running attack to go with him. He had almost no defense to go with him. He had a totally imbalanced team after that, not to mention a changing coaching and so forth. So the answer is 0. So that whole business of I can't wait until doesn't work. So when we look at, well, I'll get this done next week, I can't wait until my vacation's over and so forth. No, it's today. You have to begin to do whatever it is that you're doing. I thought about that as I watched the Super Bowl, and I thought about it from a couple other standpoints. I thought about it when Amparo said you need another speaker, actually. But the question of this business of you can wait occurred to me also when I was flying back from Dallas last week and the week before. And I think in the American Airlines magazine, which is not the greatest bit of literature in the world, but it's there, so you read it. And there was an article, I think, on Tom Peters, a management guru. Many of you may have heard of him. And he talked about this whole business of I can't wait until. He said, no. It's today because you don't really have any control. What's in the past, the old saying is cancel check, and what's in the future is promissory note, and today is a gift, and that's why they call it the present. And he was right about that. You can't really count on what's going to happen next. So when he goes into companies and he hears this business, I'm going to get this done next week when we have our retreat, or we're going to think about the 5-year plan, or we're going to do X, Y, Z next week. No. Skip that. Really concentrate on what it is, because it's perhaps the only opportunity you may have, what you're going to do today. So I also thought about when I first started in the business years ago, and I was with a really very interesting guy. He ended up in the ministry. I don't know what I was doing with him, but nevertheless, really wonderful guy. And he said to me, Pat, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing wrong. I said, I do it wrong. So why do you say that? He said, because if you wait until you try to perfect it, you'll never do anything. Yeah. Because the whole story about the enemy of the good is perfection, because you become paralyzed. You don't do this kind of thing that you're supposed to be doing. So I think he was absolutely right. And we ended up doing various types of work where we would send out letters and so forth, and you'd send them out to in our business, and there's very little response, about 2 or 3% of some of the things you want. And I did my follow-up, and I said, geez, look at this, there's 97% of this, we're supposed to ignore. No, just give it to me, I got nothing better to do. It turned out that that was perhaps the most productive year I had in business by working off the non-responders with regard to it, because we can't count on what's going to happen next. We have to take advantage of what it is that is right there in front of you. So I thought he was right. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing wrong, because you can't control every aspect of it. You make the correction and go from there. So my fellow Toastmasters, when I think of Dan Marino, and I think of Tom Peters, and I think of these horrendous flights and the wait times and so forth, take advantage of that time, because it may not be something that you're going to get your hands on the second time around. I know Winston Churchill is somebody that I've always enjoyed reading a little bit, and he used to talk about generals who always wanted a set piece. They didn't want to go to battle because they all wanted everything just in line. It doesn't work that way, because just as you think you have it under control, it changes on the other side. So his directives to his staff and his people always contained an epigram on the bottom of it, which is the fact that he called it KBO. KBO, anybody know what KBO is? Very profound, Churchill. He called it keep buggering on. And if you keep buggering on, you won't have to worry about what's coming next, because you'll be doing what it is that needs to be done today. So, that Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, KBO.
Thank you, very eloquent. And he's leaving us tonight with the check, the present, and the promissory note, so we can keep on living and trying to do the best out of our lives. Next, I'm going to have